So for today's adventure, we're doing the hike into Crystal Lakes off Highway 410 in Mount Rainier National Park. If snow conditions are okay, then we'll hike up above Crystal Lakes over to Sourdough Gap. And if we're able to do that, then the trip today will be a little over 7 miles round trip. Anyways, today's adventure, Crystal Lakes in Mount Rainier National Park. So 1.3 miles with 1,038 feet of elevation. We're going to hit a trail fork. If you go to the right, you wind up at Crystal Peak. We're staying to the left up to Crystal Lakes. So 2.5 miles in, here's the smaller, much smaller of the two Crystal Lakes. There are 2 campsites here and an open pit toilet. So 3.2 miles, 2,247 feet of elevation gain. We're up at the larger of the 2 Crystal Lakes. And we'll go ahead and do a walk around the lake shore here in a minute. But this is when you first arrive at the upper Crystal Lake. And up there is the pass that you go through if you're gonna hike through over to Sourdough Gap. So there's Crystal Peak in the background right there, and then we'll rotate here. This is a good spot to get a view of the entire lake. And now directly in front of us is the pass that you hike through if you're going to hike through over to Sourdough Gap and have those views looking down towards Sheep Lake, as well as Chinook Pass. Right now we're 3.3 miles with 2,247 feet of elevation gain. A little mucky through there, isn't it? You think it just thawed? So 3.95 miles and 2,700 feet of elevation gain. We're up above Crystal Lake right now. Unfortunately, Mount Rainier is obscured by clouds. Directly in the background from me is Crystal Peak. And now we're gonna go ahead and start working our way over towards the pass. That'll lead us over to Sourdough Gap. I think on this hike, this is my favorite part, is when you get up above Crystal Lake. I think the views from up high here are just outstanding. Almost to the pass. So we made it up over the pass behind or to the east of Crystal Lake, and now we're crossing over to Sourdough Gap. So about 4.3 miles with 2,868 feet of elevation gain. We just popped through Sourdough Gap. So we're looking down at Sheep Lake, and right out there is Chinook Pass. So it'll be a nice day to do a point-to-point hike if we had 2 cars, but Rebecca doesn't drive yet. That's your fault. Rebecca's let me know it's lame because we're backtracking back to the trailhead instead of through hiking to Chinook Pass, and then her suggestion was that we hitchhike back. So maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Whoa, careful there. No dying. No dying, not today. Everybody has to do it, but we don't have to do it today. So a little over 8 miles, we're arriving back at the trailhead. So Crystal Lakes and Sourdough Gap is
In the bag.
it's in the bag. The parking lot at the trailhead is very limited, so you might want to have a plan B if you come here to do this hike. It is going to be work. You do have to do a lot of uphill climb to get there, but once you get to the lower lake, the views are great and it's totally worth it. Anyways, Crystal Lakes and Sourdough Gap in the bag. Get outside.